You're listening to 90.8 Hills FM Radio.
This is 90.8 Hills FM radio station, using our voice to rate your choice. Stay tuned.
Hello, my dear listeners. You are tuned into 90.8 Hills FM, Nagaland's first community radio station. This is your RJ Thompson. So every year, as you all know, we celebrate World Environment Day. Now this day is a reminder that we humans have only one Earth, and it is our responsibility to take care of it. Even more so in this age with the rapid increase in materialism and conspicuous consumption, it is imperative that we use the resources of this planet sustainably and preserve the natural environment. So, to educate us more on this topic, our guest in the studio is very respected Shri.Hemant IFS, the Conservator of Forest Government of Nagaland. Sir, welcome to our studio and thank you for being here.
Thanks a lot, Timsa. And in fact, I'm very happy that Hills FM is taking the topic of World Environment Day to reach out to the masses and create awareness among them and the sense of responsibility among them about their environment. I'm deeply thankful to you.
Lovely. In fact, it is our pleasure that you could spare your time, and I, including with all my listeners, are really looking forward to learn more from you.
Thank you.
So, first and foremost, World Environment Day. That's something that we celebrate every year. And I believe every year we have a different theme as well. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
World Environment Day, to go into a little bit of background, like United Nations, it's an umbrella organization to look after the affairs of the world, and one of the issue which it looks after is environment. So there was a conference on human environment at Stockholm in 1972. In 1972 itself, we realized the problems we are facing with the environment, and UN ended up in creating United Nations Environment Program, UNEP. Along with that, World Environment Day concept also it was created, and since the first day of the conference in 1962, it was 5th of the June. Since then, in commemoration of that, from 1973 we started celebrating World Environment Day. Tomorrow we are going to have 52nd World Environment Day. The theme for that is regarding land restoration, desertification and drought resilience. The host country would be Saudi Arabia. In past we have hosted in 2011 and 2018 we have hosted even in India also, where the theme was forest, nature at your service, and beat plastic pollution respectively. Next year theme is also decided. It is about ending plastic pollution, and the host country would be Korea.
So regarding the theme of 2024, can you tell us a little bit about that theme and what organizations or governments are striving to achieve based on that theme?
Right. So most pressing issues about environment are actually the issues which humanity is facing as most important issues. Okay, these are not limited to the environment sector, but these are the issues of the global world. These are the issues of the humanity. So regarding theme, we are talking about land degradation, drought and desertification, and all these things are interconnected. Land is degraded because of overuse, because of deforestation, because of intensive agricultural cultivation. We have somewhere around 2 billion hectares of the land degraded throughout the globe. In fact, when it comes to India, we have in India also 32% of the India's land is degraded. Okay, and what happens is it is coupled with climate change and global warming. Dryness increases, drought becomes unavoidable, and coupled with land degradation and drought, the whatever scrub and grassland vegetation is there, it gets vanished, and the process of desertification it starts. So it is all interconnected, and these are one of the most pressing global issues. Regarding your second part, that which national and international organizations are involved into it. So I mean, the issue is of so great significance that many environmental pacts or conventions, they are they are being done for solving these planetary issues. Say, for example, the United Nations has decided this decade till 2030 as a decade on ecosystem restoration from 2021 to 2030. Bonn Challenge of 2011 also aims at restoration of around 325 million hectares of land by 2030 again. And as per the coming Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework of 2022, again till 2030, we have to restore 32% of the land. Along with this, when we talk about development, we have sustainable development goals where we take care that nobody is suffering, development is happening at its pace, but along with that, we are taking care of the environment also. For that, there is a concept of sustainable development. And for that also, we have kept the target of 2030. And these are all global frameworks. There is a specialized instrument called as United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. It is legally binding instrument to the all countries, and India is signatory to all such important conventions. So even in that also, from 1994, we are aiming our policies and interventions towards stopping this drought and desertification process. And we have 2018 to 30 framework again under this UNCCD for framing our policies, programs to reach to the sustainability of the environment.
You have mentioned about pressing environmental issues. How about Northeast? Is there any particular environmental issue pertaining to Northeast exclusively, or say particularly Nagaland?
Yes, these are global issues, and global issues, they impact even the regions also, because we all stay in interconnected world. Our actions and interactions are responsible to contribute not only to the problem but also to the solution also. So Northeast, we are having small states with small geographical area, and if we look at the state of forest report published by the Forest Survey of India, the latest being 2021, northeastern states are one among the top in losing the forest cover to the tune of somewhere around 200 square kilometer in the assessment period of 2 years. It is 2 yearly report. In Nagaland itself, we have in last, as per the last assessment report, we have lost somewhere around 235 square kilometer of the area. So this is issue with the Nagaland. Nagaland again, we are having 70% of the land which is prone to the erosion. Okay, and losing forest at this speed might create some problem in future, because to generate new soil, nature takes somewhere around 100 to 400 years, and within year, if we are losing so much of forest and 70% of our land is prone to erosion, then definitely we are heading towards the problem. Reasons for this can be many things, like short cycle of shifting cultivation, the population growth, urbanization, logging, firewood collection. Okay, so several issues are there. In fact, 29% to 30% of the Nagaland geographical area is also under degradation. If you commonly see around Dimapur area, there were lot many lakes or pukhris earlier, but we get to see them less and less. Reason being, now those are converted into the plots for the construction purpose. We dump material into them, convert them into flat land, and use it for the plotting and construction purpose. So we our groundwater level is also going down. In case if you ask to the elderly people, they might tell you that the borewell depth was this much earlier and now we need to go much deeper. The taste of the water is getting changed. They could take bath in the Dhansiri river and drink water straight away from that, but now it looks like almost like a sewage nala.
True.
So we have problems. In fact, I like to go for the hiking and trekking, and whenever I go to Zuko or say Zafu, Saramati, Mounti or Pauna, it's difficult to miss the way. Reason being, all the trail is littered with the polythene. Okay, it's a very sad reality, but that's how it is. And what global issues we are having, we are having same things even at Nagaland also. Reasons may be different.
So speaking of water, even in many of the colonies in Dimapur, I keep hearing these days that they don't have enough water these days.
Right.
Like there is water scarcity in a place like Dimapur.
Right.
That is a very dangerous trend,
Right.
I believe. But then, how do we do it with not using, say, for example, bore wells?
Right.
Right? Is there any alternative solution, suggestion for that?
Alternative solutions, rather I would say that along with the bore well, it would be a coupled solution, because problem in first place it is of maybe multifaceted in origin. Say our settlement pattern here in Nagaland, it is on the top of the hills, where we have limited water. In the valleys we have flowing rivers, and we have water bodies there. So it's a little a demographic problem also, the settlement problem of the people. That is one thing. Second thing is the population pressure is increasing. It is increasing even more when people are getting congregated or concentrated into the cities like Dimapur and Kohima, where then per capita water availability goes down. The third thing is we need to focus more on rainwater harvesting. So that will be in addition to whatever system we are following it for the use of water. So it won't be completely replacing it. It would be a complementary activity for the present water distribution system, where individuals can have their own water, and pressure on government system or private system of provision of water can get reduced.
So some of the issues that you've mentioned that are pertaining particularly to Nagaland, and there are a number of reasons has also been cited.
Right.
So what can we do about it? Is there something that we can do about it? Should we go for alternative agricultural practices, or?
See, I mean, if we talk about the global problems and what things which we are following, solutions which we are following broadly, I would say that sticking to the theme of restoration, drought and desertification, reforestation and afforestation, and stopping the cutting of the forest which is happening at the current pace, that is definitely a one solution. Apart from that, soil and moisture conservation and different practices, not only I mean those are textbook concept, but we are following it on ground also. We need to focus more on that. We need to focus on water harvesting, conservation and judicious use. Then control grazing, although grazing is not the problem in Nagaland, but if you look at the national or global issues like areas like Gujarat or Rajasthan, more and more desertification is happening, because one of the major contributor to that is grazing. So not a very relevant issue for the Nagaland, but definitely when we talk about global and national scenario, it is very important. Restoration of the degraded areas, like what happens is when we cut the natural forest, then it is taken over by the invasive or alien species which are not native to that area, and they do not support even biodiversity there also. So we need to restore that areas, remove those, and have natural vegetation there. Along with that, more important thing is agriculture practices, because land degradation happens mostly because of agriculture. So in past, agriculture used to be of more sustainable nature, because this rotation cycle of the agriculture used to be somewhere around 25 to 35 years. Now it has reduced to the 8 years, somewhere around that. It doesn't give sufficient time for the land to recover its vegetation. So if we have agriculture practices which are more akin like forestry, say for example agroforestry, where we have mixture of crops also, mixture of timber and firewood and fruiting trees and everything all together, then I think we can protect our land from its degradation and soil from erosion better.
How about, say, using technology? Do you feel like technology can help in this situation, or do you feel that the technological advancement is only adding more to environmental damage?
I think it is both ways. It is both ways, means advancement in technology, it is aimed as solving human problems, to assist the humans. Whatever environmental issues we are having are byproducts of such technological advancements. Say for example, we invented car. We didn't invent them to create the more pollution. We invent them to give a speed and long distance coverage to the humans. Okay, but now pollution became a byproduct. How do we deal with that is now we are trying to come out with the more cleaner and greener technologies, like having electric operated vehicle, having CNG operated vehicle, having the future is going to be hydrogen cars. So those things are there, and we try to reduce the environmental hazards as byproduct as minimum as possible. So technology works in both ways.
So would you say that it depends on how we use it? Something as simple as that?
Obviously how we use it, for what purpose we use it.
We are also experiencing a rapid increase in population, not just in
Right.
India, all over. Along with the increase in population comes the need for urbanization. As
Right.
human beings, we want to live in urban cities, only many of us. So, with this increase in population, how do we balance the need for urbanization and at the same time tackle the problem of diminishing percentages of trees and forest cover?
Right. So it is a very pertinent question, and it is in connection with the earlier question also, like will technological advancements or technological solutions would be able to give us the solutions to environmental hazards or not. To a certain extent, yes. But what happens is when denominator is the population, the huge population, even to create the green infrastructure, like say for example, if you need to create the solar electricity for all these billions of populations of the human, we'll need to cover a lot much of the geographical area of the earth. We need to mine out a lot of minerals for the production of the solar plates. So population is definitely a big problem. But if we talk about this one, particularly about this one, the Nagaland case, so I think little bit of changes in culture, like adopting more to the flat kind of a system rather than having a independent houses, and that too definitely we need to take care of the earthquake guidelines or regulations for the construction of such houses also. That can solve problem to a certain extent. I'll tell you something about this one, my previous experience of working in Kifre division. So there is a subdivision called as Pungro. When I was working there and I left in 2016, I could get to hear from the very senior citizens in that area that previously there used to be only one village in the whole Pungro subdivision. When I left in 2016, there were 40 villages. And with 40 villages, there is an additional demand for the creation of cultivable land. That is shifting cultivation land or zoom land. There is a demand for creation of roads and other infrastructures also. So if there is a policy on creation and maybe this one, recognition of the new village, so it can check to certain extent on the loss of forest which is happening because of the urbanization.
In that context, is there any particular message that you would like to give to the younger generations? Because as least we all believe in sustainable development now, right? So is there any particular message that you'd like to give out?
I think my message in a short would be to get back to the lifestyle of the ancestors. Okay, and how do I mean, what are the good things about the lifestyle of the ancestors is there is a concept called as mission life. Mission life is lifestyle for environment. It is given by the led by the India, and we are planning it to be a global initiative starting from the India, where we focus on this one, mass movement based on the individual actions. So what we aim at is the individuals with their choices will influence the demand, and producers or manufacturers will change their production line or manufacturing line to cater to the need of the individuals. By that way, government policies will also get influenced to plan in a such a way that it becomes more environmentally sustainable or healthy. It's like bottom to up approach. Okay, and that's what through this we are planning. We have 7 themes under this mission life for individual action, but in context of Nagaland, if we pick out some this one points which youth or general population of the Nagaland can follow is to get back to the lifestyle of the ancestors. And how do we get there is reduce food wastage. Okay, our ancestors, they never wasted food. Second thing is walk or pedal more rather than using cars and bike. That is not only helpful for the environment but helpful for the personal health also. Buy local, no junk food. Reason being, our ancestors, they ate local food and they survived to the age of hundreds also, and more than 100 also. What happens with the junk food is not only we are spoiling our health but we are spoiling environment also. And how? Because there is a lot of energy consumed for the production of junk food. There is a lot of plastic used for the packaging of junk food, and there is a lot of carbon emission or pollution happening for the transportation of junk food and their storage or cold storage, whatever it is. So it's very energy intensive. Rather to buy from the local, what is regional, seasonal and plant rich, that would be best. Our ancestors, they focused on even the boiled vegetables and pulses and millets also. Like we get to hear about guni dhan, gongul dhan and that kind of a thing being eaten. Even the maize and corn also by the ancestors. No, it was never focused on particularly on the processed foods, or maybe just rice rich or wheat rich diet, which is again more water demanding, or sugar rich diet, which is sugarcane is much more water demanding crop, and a lot of energy is being used for getting product out of that. The lands are getting degraded and getting saline because of very intensive cultivation and continuous water logging, no. So we can get back to the diet of the ancestors also. That will save our health as well as environment also. We can support organic, go for the composting. We can carry the cloth bag like jholas our ancestors they used to carry, not the polythene bags or getting it from the shop, no. And social work like cleaning compound, rainwater harvesting. We have plenty of traditional systems of this one water harvesting that we can follow. Like youngsters, if they small things like they can change their behavior where they can use as less as energy possible for routine things. Say for example, if somebody is willing to have a good health and go for the run, better to go for the run on ground than treadmill, because again in treadmill we are consuming a lot of this one energy. As soon as there is little bit of weather change and we feel either cold or it's too hot, then immediately we switch on to the AC, fan or heater. I think maybe adapting to the more cloths or less cloths, winter friendly cloths or summer friendly cloths would be better option rather than going for the more energy intensive options. Nagaland Pollution Control Board is again implementing eco club programs also in the schools. I think my appeal would be that every student can plant a fruiting tree on his or her birthday, and friends can gift such kind of plants and to fruiting trees to our own friends, so that they create the commemorative plantation and fruit trees. I think because people are getting benefit out of it, they'll not cut it also. That can be done. We always advocate shooting, but shooting with camera, not with catapult, air gun or traps or by any other means. Okay. Some day-to-day household things like using pressure cooker, it saves a lot of energy, cooks faster. Okay. Then washing we carry out maybe for the house, floor or car, rather than the hose pipe we can use bucket. Okay. And particularly to observe in Nagaland, when we go for the fishing, we go for bombing, the electric current, use of poisons, okay, chemicals, that can be avoided. Ancestors, they never did it. They used this one, the net, and we can adapt to that one. Angling can become sport. Particularly message to the this one, my lady sisters, is sanitary pads or menstrual pads, those are difficult to degrade. So now we have technological advances of having this one menstrual cups which can be reused and made out of silicone and not having many health issues also. We can adapt to such thing. And there is a scheme like solar net metering also for the household as well as offices. I personally use that at my house in back there in the Nagpur. Its system is like we invest initially on having solar plates or solar electric system on the rooftop or terrace of the building or house that provides us electricity, and whatever excess is generated, it gets back to the grid, main grid. Okay, and when we are in the need, we get the electricity from the grid back. Okay, there is no battery component involved, so expenditure is less, maintenance is almost zero other than wiping and cleaning the solar plates. By that way, I am able to reduce my household electricity bill from 3 to 4,000 to the fixed amount of 300 to 400. It is not only saving electricity, but it is saving a lot of my money also. And that system is applicable here at Nagaland. So government gives subsidy to such purpose. So it can be readily applied in offices as well as households.
So did you say that the government gives subsidies for such purposes?
Yes. All renewable energy programs, we are having subsidy for such purposes. In fact, we get subsidy. That's how our gas prices are low, because we get subsidy for that.
Oh, interesting. I actually had no idea about that.
Right.
Speaking of the youth again, a number of practical advices. You have given a number of practical advices, but I'm sure they're also interested in being as successful as you are in the position that you now are in.
Right.
So if you could give any suggestion or advice for the younger generation who are interested in joining the same field as you.
Right. I think my suggestion to them would be, if they are interested, then they should be going for the education, formal education in the same sector like forestry, wildlife or environment. Once we get formal education or formally instructed into the subject, we kind of get baptized to it, and it becomes mission of our life. So clearing UPSC exam or clearing NPSC exam, that becomes not the ultimate ambition, but just the way to contribute into the issues of environment, wildlife and forestry. Okay, so it gives different kind of a platform. IFS, Indian Forest Service, through UPSC gives sufficiently elevated platform where we can contribute more in terms of geographical area or at policy and planning level. We can get into NPSC also, Nagaland Public Service Commission. Through that we have 50% of reservation for the post of Assistant Conservator of Forest and RFOs also for forestry graduates. That is one of the option. Nonetheless, we can be research scientists also. We can work through NGOs also. They are excellently contributing to the cause of conservation. Okay, many species of wildlife, plants are getting discovered and named after the villages and people of this area, and that is again contribution of the scientists, and it is helping even more for the conservation purpose. NGOs are joining hands with forest department. Not only NGOs, general masses, civil society organization, even churches are joining hands with the forest department for creating awareness and contributing to the cause of conservation.
So I believe you have been in Nagaland for a number of years now. Right?
Yes.
So can you cite some interesting incidents from your stay in Nagaland? Any incident that you'd like to share?
Right. So actually I came to Nagaland in the year 2011 and stayed here for quite some time. For the 7 years in between, I went to Government of India on deputation for the tiger conservation purpose specifically. So my career before my deputation tenure and even after my deputation tenure, it's been intense, quite a lot of happening. So I don't know what exactly to share. Everything is worthy to share, but maybe I would like to share about this one, Amur falcon conservation, which happened there in began there in the Wokha district in Pangti village, starting from the Pangti village and surrounding village. So what happened is I was all set to go for the basic mountaineering course at the Darjeeling, and all of a sudden I got the order from the my department that I am appointed as on special duty for the conservation of Amur falcon. So I had to cancel my this one basic mountaineering, which was very dear to my heart, and I always wanted to do that, and then go for that. And while going for that, I was told that what I am supposed to do, that is not well defined. what resources I am going to have, those were also not there. So I was to figure out what is my way going to be. Went there in the Pangti, stayed with the people in one of the room which was provided by kind people. I was told that it's difficult to deal with the people in Bokha, but somehow it turned out to be one after other incidences, like people were very kind, generous and polite towards us, very cooperative towards us. And in year 2013, the killing of Amur Falcon, which was happening in the tune of 120,000 to 140,000 within a year, with the support from community, with the support from youth, students, fishermen organization, those were engaged in the hunting earlier, and most prominently from the churches, it got down to zero killing that year. And it is unimaginable, unparalleled and unachievable anywhere in the world. And that these are not my statements, but these are the statements of the people from across the globe, those who visited us to see this conservation program or to contribute into the research program. So that is amazing thing, amazing experience, and I'll always cherish those memories. Another incident I would like to share with you is when I was posted in Kifre. There is one small village called as Fakim. So Fakim village is even known for the Fakim Wildlife Sanctuary. Small sanctuary is also there. And when we observed there, more pertinent issue was about having a lighting, rural household lighting there, because power fluctuation was there, tungsten bulbs were affordable, and people used to use tungsten bulbs, and whenever power fluctuation is there, hundreds and thousands of bulbs used to go waste. When power is down or voltage is down, these tungsten bulbs were hardly producing any light. So then we discussed with many people, and what is the solution. So it emerged as LED bulbs can provide the solution. But then LED technology was very costly there. Each bulb of 12 watt was costing somewhere around 300 rupees, and we hardly had any resources. I remember my first installment in 2014, it was 3,17,200 rupees for the whole division. And mind you, I had 5 districts under my division. And then with that we were going to address the issue where there was no money earmarked. Then we tried that how can we solve this problem. So we got the help from the other NGOs and friends and colleagues, and even community also, they contributed from their side. And then we, with the help from the community, got Fakim village inaugurated in the hands of by the hands of Honorable DC that time, Deputy Commissioner that time, Mr. Chumremo, as first LED village. I'm sure about Northeast, but it can be first LED village even in the India also. Okay, and the impact of that was so much that people had never seen so much of light into that village. They were feeling like it's kind of some carnival happening in Dimapur or Kohima. They were just struck. They were just staring at the lights. That time, now how come our village is so bright? Even people from the other village, they used to stare at this one, Fakim village. The suit of Fakim village was followed by Wongsawang and Thanamir village. Thanamir village, many people they know as Apple village, as well as the village of Mount Saramati also. So people from the other villages and other hills used to look at them and what is happening there. No, it was, everybody was so amazed. Even people went to the extent of praising to the department, saying like Christianity came and gave a new light to the civilization here. Likewise, Forest Department gave a new light to us. They went to that extent in praising the department. Follow-up of these interventions was like government of Nagaland then got into kind of motion to bring LED scheme to the Nagaland. That time LED scheme was not implemented in Nagaland, and now we have LED lights everywhere. So that was a jump shift from the tungsten light directly to LED light, skipping the stage of fluorescent light or CFL bulbs. So that was one again important thing. Working with churches is again another important achievement, I should say, or experience of my life. Like we always appeal to the churches or NBCC to have collaboration with the forest department and issue the joint appeal for the prayer, because there is very good concept, biblical concept of conservation given in the Bible. Okay, and there is a mass of the population which is not routinely participating into the awareness events of the department. What we see in the departmental awareness program is routinely repeated faces are coming. Okay, and there is a huge mass which is untapped from this awareness program. So how do we approach them is scientific or this one, the legal appeal may not affect them, but spiritual or religious appeal might affect their behavior. So we approached to the this one NBCC, we approached to the different churches and district level bodies, and churches came out with wonderful dedicated sermons for the conservation of wildlife and an environment, not only for the Amur falcon purpose, but even during last wildlife week celebration which happened during first week of October in 2023. It was a huge amazingly successful program and very unique program globally. We don't have replicas of such programs anywhere in the world.
That's so interesting and very impressive to me. As in, I feel like if we were to keep a group of young people, aspiring young people with you, then just by interacting with you, I'm sure they'll be so inspired, because it's like you have made your profession as your personal goal as well, right? To
Right.
actually use your profession as a personal goal.
Right.
So, I mean, thank you on behalf of all the people of Nagaland. That's all I can say at this moment. And when I was gearing up for this interview, preparing for this interview, I was reading up on you and the forest department, and that's when I got lost in a black hole and I came across an article. So in that
Right.
article, there was something mentioned known as environmental privilege.
Right.
So let me just read out a short snippet of the article. And this article has been written by a Colombian mountaineer, and she wrote, "We chant and work in support of movements like clean air and clean water." Right? But these movements do not actually produce more clean air or clean water. What happens is they just move the dirty conditions somewhere else. So if we are enjoying crisp, clean air or drinking potable water, someone somewhere is living next to a landfill or polluted fishing site. This is our environmental privilege. It gives us access to open spaces, clean air, water, energy, etc. So keeping that environmental privilege context in mind, in your opinion, do you feel that environmental change policies sometimes, unfortunately, do not give the desired result when it is not working in tandem with policies that provide other basic human rights?
Right. I mean, I would partially agree with the author on the stand he or she is taking. It's not only about environmental policies, but whatever interdependent things which are not working in tandem are going to create problem with each other, or not, at least not going to give the desirable effects or results. Okay. So I should be frank in admitting that yes, it happens sometime. Yes, it happens sometimes in the sense, say for example, we have in ecology a concept called as this one, the tragedy of commons. So what happens is, those who are more powerful or those who are more resources would use the common property, say for example clean air, water, as much as possible. And since it is a common property, not even a single person would be personally responsible for welfare of the common property. Okay, so we end up in using and abusing that. The fallout effects are environmental hazards, and those who are marginalized communities, those who are indigenous people, those who are poor people, those who are having very limited means of coping up with these environmental hazards would be suffering. Would be suffering in the sense what author is mentioning, like we have access to more clean and greener spaces and crisp airs and mountains. Yes, definitely. Like if a person from America is traveling to scale the Mount Saramati, when he or she is coming to India, lot of carbon is emitted. Okay, lot of carbon is emitted through his or her travel through air. Okay, and the externalities, what we call the externalities of the travel, although we consider it as a very green activity of going to the natural spaces, but externalities, they increase and they end up in producing even more garbage in terms of plastic or other things, even more pollution. Yes, that happens. You were talking about the rights also. So in that way, I mean, I would take example of even Nagaland also. Sometimes the very tight and excessive interpretation of human rights can go against this one, the responsibilities towards the environment. For example, Constitution guarantees land, right over land and its resources in Nagaland. Okay, now sometimes we go overboard and we interpret it in a way like we have the right over even the wildlife of the forest, because the forest belongs to us, land belongs to us, and we try to justify even the illegal activity like hunting also, whereas we are implementing Wildlife Protection Act 1972, which is for the welfare and conservation of the wildlife. We face sometimes problems when it comes to enforcement between the constitutional rights guaranteed to the people, but it is these are stray incidences, these are not common happenings. We always get support from the community here for the conservation of even wildlife also. So that's why I said like I mean, I agree with the author, but partially. Second thing is the Constitution of India gives under Article 21 right to life, and right to life is again interpreted as right to live in a good environment, because if environment is hazardous to us, it is coming in between the right to life of an individual. And that's how through right to life, having right to good environment is justified and given to every citizen. It is exactly in tandem with actually the rights which is given to the humanity, maybe through Universal Charter of Human Rights, or even otherwise through constitutional fundamental rights.
So I guess in a way, governments all over, they are doing enough to deal with these issues. Would you agree with that, or do you feel like governments are doing enough?
I think I should agree with what government is doing, and I should agree that government is doing enough. Reason being, we have excellent policies, we have excellent legislations for conservation and protection of environment, forest and wildlife. We are signatory to all international obligations also in terms of pacts, conventions. We have ratified them all, and we are trying. The problem comes is we are developing economy, and socio-economically also we are not there. We are most populous country on the globe. When it comes to regulation or when it comes to implementation, we find problem there. There is no problem with the policies or legislations what we are having right now. And it is not the problem with India. It would be the problem with any populous country which is aspiring nation, having a lot of aspirations from the people, and equally putting the pressure on the land and its resources, and too many people to handle, too many people from the socioeconomically backward category, those who are thinking about their next meal. So in such scenario, enforcement or implementation, it becomes a little difficult. But in spite of that, in Nagaland, we have almost retained 74% of our forest cover intact. That is one of the highest in the world as a state. Okay, and as country, we have been growing our forest cover every year. The same assessment which I was telling you about, Forest Survey of India, the biannual assessment 2021 report, states like Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, they are gaining forest cover to the tune of somewhere around 500 square kilometer per year, per assessment period of 2 year. Okay, that is wonderful achievement for a country like us. We have close to 1,000 protected areas. When I say protected areas, this means wildlife sanctuaries, national parks, community reserves, and conservation reserves. Being from Nagaland, I take pride in stating that we have 189 community reserves which are legally notified. Okay, there can be many conservation community reserves which are not legally notified, but community is still preserving wildlife and forest into that area, and this comes to almost 2/3 of the total community reserves in the India, Nagaland alone. Okay, and if you talk about our this one global carbon emission, we are not contributor of the problem in first place. We are contributing just 2.29 tons of carbon emission per capita per year. Okay, whereas the global average is somewhere around 6.3 tons. Countries, developed countries like USA, they are contributing somewhere around 15 tons. Okay, so we need not to, whenever we are talking on such occasions like World Environment Day or Wildlife Week, we often end up in saying that we are not doing enough, but in reality our achievements are extraordinary. In fact, our fertilizer use per capita, per acreage of the cropland, it is one of the lowest in the world. Whatever this one, maybe the publicity being done, but that is one of the lowest. Reduce, reuse and recycle, this concept we follow for sustaining the good environment. That is in a culture. Our social economy is like that, our culture is like that, we are naturally following that. And if you talk about this one, the wildlife, somewhere around 70 to 90% of megafauna or megaflora or this one charismatic animals which we talk, say that for example Royal Bengal tiger, one-horned rhinoceros, Asiatic wildlife, Asiatic water buffalo, elephants. The global population, out of that 70 to 90% is surviving just in India. Say for example lion, Asiatic lion, it is 100% in India, and from all other places it is completely wiped out. Amur Falcon episode I have told to you about this one, Nagaland. The forest cover of Nagaland is excellent. We have excellent community conserved area. So all these are achievements, and in spite of being very aspiring nation, developing nation, having a lot of demand on land, on its resources, and most populous country in the world, our population density is 431 people per square kilometer, whereas the global average is just 51 people per square kilometer. In spite of that, we are holding our ground, and in spite of being developing economy, we are investing into the sector of conservation. Like say for example, top 10 overpasses or underpasses on expressways or 4-lane or 6-lane highways constructed. The top 10, the longest and biggest one, they do not belong to this one developed countries. They are all from India. So that much of commitment we are showing. And whenever I get to attend any global conference, say for example last time I attended Asia Park conference at Malaysia. So I felt pride about myself, my job and my country, that we have done so much that there is no parallel to it anywhere globally.
Impressive. That you have, now that you have mentioned the facts and figures, it seems even more impressive now.
Right.
There is also this department in Nagaland, the forest department in Nagaland.
Yeah.
You being the very respected chief conservator of forests. Can you tell us something about our forest department, the vision and the activities that they have taken up or planning to take up?
Right. So in Nagaland, you must be aware that we are having very unique land holding pattern. That is, most of the land, it belongs to the community or individuals. And All this land is having almost everywhere forest cover. 3/4 of Nagaland it is covered with the green vegetation. We have almost this one 74% of cover. So the role of the forest department is facilitator for the conservation of that forest. Apart from that, we have protected areas where we are specially focusing on conservation of wildlife, and we have some programs for the conservation of rare endemic species of flora and fauna. Now when landholding is with the people, working with the community is the only option. So we have interventions like incentivizing reduction in zoom land and converting it back to the forest, reinforcing community conserved areas for the protection and conservation of the wildlife, afforestation of the degraded areas, and for that we have several schemes like NFMP or FBMP. Say for example, we call it shortly JICA project, or FDA Forest Development Agency project, and this one KFW project, which is again German funded project. So we are carrying out those things in department, and what we aim at through this is to maintain the equilibrium between the conservation side also, and we partially facilitate even utilization also, because it's difficult to survive without firewood, difficult to survive without timber and several other forest resources. So we try to facilitate a regulated harvest of forest resources also.
Is there any particular environmental cause that you are passionate about?
Right. So being in service, it becomes a mandate to address all environmental, forest and wildlife issues whatever are delegated to us. Okay, and we need to work equally efficiently on these issues. But yes, in our heart we do have our liking and disliking. So my particular liking is about environmental or conservation advocacy, to work in coordination, to work in collaboration with the people and go ahead for the advocacy, particularly for the wildlife conservation advocacy. And if you ask me that what are my the achievements, I would say that advocacy is one of my biggest achievement while being here at Nagaland. I like to talk with people, I like to interact with them, I like to make them aware, learn from them, and motivate them for initiating actions on their end for the conservation purpose. And that's what I love to do.
There is also been a yearly increase in the heat wave now. It's like every year it's getting hotter and hotter. Any suggestions that you'd like to give out on how to tackle?
It may have its root in larger environmental or global environmental issues like climate change and global warming. And it's a long-term strategy for that. We are working on that, and global targets are set. India is also aiming at becoming net zero country by 2070. But some immediate solutions which I would like to share with you is planting more evergreen trees and retaining more urban green spaces. Reason being, these evergreen trees and urban green spaces, they kind of create microclimate. This is called as microclimate effect. So the environment around such places tends to be somewhere 2, 3, 4, 5 degrees lesser than the surrounding environment. We need more of them. We need to retain more of our lakes and ponds in urban areas, because they also help to stabilize the dynamics between land and water temperature. Along with that, whatever open spaces we are having, the open spaces we should not try to do the concretization of those open spaces. Otherwise they'll add to the heating problem of that particular locality. So these are immediate solutions which are clicking to my mind as of now.
Rewinding back to what you mentioned earlier, since you have mentioned about planting trees,
Right.
we should definitely give fruit trees to everyone on their birthdays.
Right.
That's what your suggestion
Yes.
is.
Yes.
I think that should start from me. And that is something that I advise all my listeners to, it seems so silly when we say it, but it is actually very practical and it will help our environment in the long run. Instead of giving material stuff, why not give fruit trees?
Yes.
Right? Any sort of trees as gifts.
Yes.
Finally, is there any message that you'd like to give to all our listeners?
I think I'll borrow it from you. As you said in the beginning, we have only one earth and whole humanity is on that earth. One planet for all of us. I should say that Nagaland is heaven on earth, or at least piece of that, where we have so much of greenery, clean air, clean water for everyone. Plenty of it. We might be having localized problem in Kohima or Dimapur, but largely if we see, we have that. Okay? And it is not only the Nagaland. Every other place on planet was like this. It was heaven once upon a time. Somehow it didn't remain so. So as an individual, our responsibility is to maintain it as heaven, not only for the us, but for the future generation. And that's my appeal and message would be to all listeners.
Thank you so much, sir, not only for the message, but for all the knowledge that you have shared. I and all my listeners, they have learned a lot from you. And we genuinely hope that you will come once again whenever we invite you next time also, because we would like to learn more from you.
Definitely, Tamsudullah, and I should say that the credit goes to the interviewer who asked such interesting questions and who is more interactive and holding the knowledge of the subject. So thanks to you for such a wonderful session and giving me opportunity, and to Hills FM. Thank you very much, and I would be really happy to interact more again on similar kind of issues in future also.
Lovely. Thank you once again. So there you have it, my dear listeners. That was the very honorable and very interesting Shri.Hemant Kamdi. He is the Conservator of Forests in the government of Nagaland. And as always, keep listening and keep supporting our local radio channel 90.8 Hills FM. This is your RJ Tumsa.
You're listening to 90.8 Hills FM Radio.
This is 90.8 Hills FM radio station, using our voice to rake your choice. Stay tuned.